more success in your life.
All right, no worries, fellas. We better go live right now. We're going live. And I know Siaosi is going to join us. Oops. All right. All right, we are live. All right, got it. And all right, great. And give me 1 second, y'all. Can y'all hear my sound effects? All right, fellas. All right, let's go live, y'all. Let's get this started. What's up, everybody? We are live. Welcome to another session of the Government Car Podcast, #1 Polynesian podcast in the world. My name is Will. I am the host of this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you guys can see, we have a full panel of guests. And I also see some more guests on the waiting room. So we're going to have some people going to jump on the podcast. They want to be part of this conversation. For all you guys watching this right now on the waiting room, just wait, be patient. After all the introductions, I'm going to let you guys in. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. For all my subscribers out there, if you love the content, support what I do, support the channel, you guys already know what to do. Smash that like and subscribe button real quick. And much love to all you guys, all the love and support. Don't forget, we do have a disclaimer for everybody out there under the age of 18.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
All right. Thank you, Savage. Thank you, Savage, for all the disclaimers out there. You guys, under the age of 18, you guys already know what to do. Don't forget, we have the live chat. I always appreciate the live chat, all your positive, all your feedback, opinions, and perspectives based on the topics that we always discuss every single week. So yeah, get that live chat going. Let me know what you guys think. I know sometimes it gets hot on the live chat, but that's the beauty of conversation because even though we don't see eye to eye, but we at least get to see it from a different perspective. Don't forget, we do have a public, it is a public show. So if you guys want to be part of the panel or part of this podcast, I'm going to post the public Zoom link on the live chat. You guys can click on it, want to be part of it. Like I said, we're going to talk about this topic tonight. If you want to add to it, whether you agree or disagree, and talk to us directly, be part of that conversation. I had some family members that got triggered by this. said some things about me on social media. Hey, but it is what it is. Much love to all you guys out there. But yeah, if you want to be part of the conversation, jump on and let's have a discussion. Don't forget the super chat donations. Everybody out there always donating to my channel. Much love to you guys always financially donating to my channel. If you want to donate to my channel, drop that super chat. The best way to drop a super chat is ask it through a question or topic. So if you want on us live on this show to talk about a topic, if you guys want us to answer a topic directly to a specific guest, drop that through a super chat donation and question, and I'll be able to respond live on the show to reciprocate your love and support. Thank you so much. But that's pretty much it. Marques, if you don't mind, you can just switch your camera to the side if you don't mind real quick. But I'll allow the guests to introduce themselves real quick. So yeah, I'll start with Savage. Go ahead, Savage. Introduce yourself real quick. Everybody out there watching tonight.
Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Savage Island. I am on a panel with esteemed gentlemen, a good group of guys. Their opinions are valid to me. So being a part of this panel means something to me in the core of who I am. So in what we speak and what we say, you can hold us accountable wholeheartedly, and I understand that. But just know that we come from not only just the community, but we come from the experience of speaking these words. So don't think we're just out here trying to stir up the controversy and the trouble, but that we mean to promote change and progress, not so much just attacking the subject. So with that being said, I hope we find solution. So with that being said, let the games begin.
Yeah, just to respond to Savage, I do purposely try to stir the pot. Sometimes, not always. But yeah, like you said, if you want to hold us accountable, jump on the conversation and hold us accountable directly, and let's have that discussion. All right. But like I said, this conversation is not for the weak.
How dare you?
All right. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. Yeah, I'll pass it on to Marques. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Marques. Look, I'm honored to be on this and, just talk about these topics and stuff like that. These are topics I feel our community needs to talk about, our villages need to talk about. These are things that have hit home for me. And I want to make sure, again, that we're having a safe conversation about it. And, again, that we talk about it and we address everybody's issues and that everybody's voice is heard on this. And so A little bit about me. I love to talk. I'm a stay-at-home dad. This is what I do. And so just to be on this panel right here and talking with these men that have some amazing thoughts and insights, you guys are going to learn something. Let's roll.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Marcus. Always a pleasure to have you on, brother. All right. And I'll pass it on to Taniela. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, malo le re into the offer to everyone on the interweb, and to the Doro and the brothers in the panel. Again, it's always an honor and a privilege, to be part of these conversations, because at the end of the day, as Savage usually say, that these are important, because one day the generations that will come after us will find us in the dust and the rebels, and we'll probably find some values in what we have to say in these moments. I am just a young, fresh off the boat kid trying to find life and success in New Zealand. I've been in construction for over 10 years, and the last sort of 7 years have been in management. And like Savage and Marques have said, we're not coming from a point of view where we're just observing these opinions. We have lived through them, we've experienced through them, and we've taken away some great lessons that we think has not only helped us, but will be of some help to anyone who's willing to listen and to exercise some patience and an open mind towards what we have to say. But other than that, I'm looking forward to this conversation, because I see this on a day-to-day basis. Being in construction, you see a vast majority of our people, Pacific Islanders, come through the industry. And yeah, victim mindset. Can't wait to get into it. Malo, again, you're on.
All right. No worries. All right, thank you, Taniela. And last but not least, one of the sexiest men alive. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, man.
The shadow behind me, somebody behind me. One of our answers was behind
that mirror,
me.
right? That mirror right there. Just look at the mirror right there.
I don't have a mirror, but I love it, man. It's awesome to see you guys again. Once again, my name is Siaosi Veimau, and I born in Tonga, came here when I was 10, 11. Been here ever since. I travel back and forth once in a while when I can. And I don't know, it's an interesting topic, and I'm just looking forward to having these type of conversations with awesome people that are willing to look at their lives, look at what's going on in their life, and bring forth what's really going on with themselves as an example of what we're going through, and not just kind of throw things out there that has no meaning. And that's a power that we have as men here, that we do look at our lives. And the conversations about our lives, not what other people are going through. Awesome. Right, no, thank you for having me.
No worries. Always a pleasure, Siaosi and fellas. All right, thank you so much. That was for all you guys. Thank you for always taking the time out of your busy days to be part of this podcast, and always appreciate it, and always a privilege to have you guys on. All right, but let's get right into it. All right, I know a lot of people want to be part of this conversation. I do see some people jumping on the waiting room, but for topic for tonight, fellas, is why do Pacific Islanders in Western countries have a victim mindset? So just kind of give you guys a layout of the question, and you guys can respond. A lot of people that follow my content all know, I grew up in Tonga, moved here, so I have my perspective towards this subject, and people understand I have the immigrant mindset, right? I have the chip on my shoulder. I didn't come here to America to be average, to be mediocre. I came here to make something myself, and I'm going to grind to make it happen. I have very high standards for myself, and I live up to, and I keep myself, and I push myself to try to live up to those standards. And even though things are not perfect, but throughout all my years in life being here as an immigrant, I know that I don't feel entitled. I'm not entitled to anything in this country. I moved here, I didn't have papers, I didn't have nothing. I realized for myself, if I wanted to make something of myself, I can't rely on nobody, I can't rely on the society, the government. I got to figure it out, right? Based on my observation here, living here in this one of the greatest country in the world, I believe America is the greatest country in the world. I've noticed there's a lot of my friends and family members in the Pacific Islands that we all went through the same situation, came from the same upbringing background. A lot of them had this mentality, this victim mentality. The first one I see the most is blaming their parents. The reason why I'm not where I need to be in life because my parents held me back. My parents didn't had high expectations for me. My parents didn't communicate to me, didn't give me the support that I needed, and blaming their parents, blaming the culture, blaming the all these things. The family dysfunctions, the Pacific Islander function, financial responsibility, church, religion. I know that's Savage's thing. When I throw church and religion into it, just blaming all these things. And the one thing I will say to all these people out there, everything that you guys gone through, just like all these great gentlemen on this panel, all the experiences that we've gone through in life are valid, right? All the things that we've gone through. But to me, it's like at the end of the day, in the grand schemes of life, even though our feelings and experiences are valid, but at the end of the day, it's irrelevant when it comes to moving forward. It just comes down to, are you gonna do it, make a better choice or not? So either you accept the responsibility, or either you accept the life that you were given, or accept the responsibility to change it. That's just the way I see it, because everybody goes through things. We all go through life. I'm not saying Pacific Islanders, we go through more than Chinese people, white people, Black, African American people. Everybody goes through shit. But at some point in your life, you gotta stop blaming and look within yourself. And you know what? It's up to me to move forward. But I just see it. And then you add on social media where we encourage people just to talk, but there's no action, right? So, but that's just, I just want to lay out the groundwork for you guys before you add it on. But I just see on social media all the time, on TikTok, Twitter, especially Twitter. All I see is people talk about their problems, right? But the great thing about, and some of these people I know personally, but the thing is I see them, they're constantly posting content, and some of these people are adults too. They're not 18, they're like 25, 30. These are full-grown adults. Still talk about things that they've experienced, but based on what I've seen is like they've never had a solution to learn from that situation, move on, and show that they've overcome it and they've figured out a way to overcome it, actually make a better life for themselves. So all I see on social media is just people talking about how their life, how, pity me, pity party, sorry me. Oh my God, if one person posts about their like struggle and their parents, oh my God, I went through that too, I do too. I didn't get one belt, I got 2 belts. And that's why I have issues, it's like confidence issues. And I just see a lot of talking, a lot of blaming and then victimhood, victim mentality. And I don't see a lot of action. So that's just, I'm just laying out the ground for the topic tonight. Because that's what I see personally, and that's why I came to a conclusion for this topic. But I'm interested to hear your perspectives, fellas, to what you guys think. Why the Pacific Islanders have a victim mentality where we live in one of the greatest countries in the world. Because the things that I tell people all the time, like, move, if you want to see it, if you want to understand how lucky you are and how privileged you are, move outside the US and go to a third world country. So Tonga is a third world country, but it's not as third world as China, as India. Like you will start to see life in a different way. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. I'm not blaming those people if you were born in America in your bubble, but to believe that your life is going to improve by being a victim, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts about it. I'll start with Marques, man. I see you got some fire, ready to spit.
He's burning.
I see that fire within you. I need to unleash it. So yeah, Marques, man, what do you think? What's your thoughts about the topic?
So I'm just gonna say this, gentlemen. I'm gonna try and be quick, but first things first, I don't believe in a victim mentality. I don't believe that anybody, any right, strong person should walk around and have a victim mentality in anything. You're financially, you're broke. Right? If you live in poverty, you have a choice. You know what I'm saying? You have a choice. You can get yourself out of it. You are uneducated. You don't have an education. You have a choice. You're overweight. You have a choice. Stop blaming everybody. And so, like, I'm very hard when it comes to people that do have a victim mentality. I'll be honest with you. Like, I was raising, like, so I'm for those that don't know, I'm Afghani. I'm Samoan. My mom is from American Samoa, and my father is from Georgia, from the dirty South, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, for me, I didn't grow up in Samoa. But I used to live there. I went to elementary school there. I lived there for a couple of years, and I've gone back and forth every now and again. Do I speak my language? Barely. elementary, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, but I understand, you know what I'm saying? I understand Samoan, and, you know, I'll sing songs, you know, I memorize everything. I read my Kuspaia. Like, I do a lot of stuff that, you know, that you can identify and make, you know, that makes me Samoan, but do I carry a lot of the culture and traditions? So no, that's not, I was raised in America. And so being raised in America, you know, for me, I think part of, you know, like I was initially going to fight the battle and talking about victims and stuff like that. But I do believe a lot of our young brothers and sisters, you know, do have a chip on their shoulder. I've seen it firsthand within my own family. The chip, you know, that chip, that victim mentality, or that chip, or that passing of blame. All right. Again, not taking ownership for understanding and wanting to know the culture and stuff like that. Wanting to know your tradition and wanting to know what you can do better to learn, and the unwillingness to accept, okay, here's where I'm at. Unfortunately, we get into this comfort lifestyle where, oh, let me learn the basics. Let me learn the easy stuff. You know what I mean? Let me learn how to cuss in my language. Let me learn how to, you know, drink kava or drink beer and just go party and stuff like that, where we don't try to learn all of that stuff. And so recently, I'll be honest, like, especially in then joining the military, how do most of us get here? How do most Polynesians get here? Like, either one, they go for work, or two, for us, for America, a lot of them have joined the military and then brought family members over, you know? And so why do we have it? I think that the shifting of blame comes from living in a world where there is opportunity and there is things that there is other cultures, and having to learn all those other cultures and assimilate into this society, and then watching their friends go through what their friends go through, and then them not being able to do the same thing. Then they're not being able to, and this was me as well, not being able to be Samoan enough, or be Polynesian enough, you know, having to be somebody else outside and then come home and then go to church on Sunday and be something totally different. And so we live this multiple lifestyle that we couldn't keep up. And so when we found out that we couldn't keep this up, a lot of people take on that mentality. They move away from the culture. They distance themselves from that. And then that made it that much more difficult for them to come back. I remember talking to, last little thing I'm gonna say before I let you guys give it back to you guys. You know, I remember talking to this young man, To'o was his last name. But anyways, we're in Hawaii and stuff like that. And he started telling me about, he's like, I don't speak English good. I was like, dude, you speak English just fine. You know, I don't speak Samoan, you know, that well. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, look, you know, a lot of people make fun of me on how I speak English. I'll never make fun of you for trying. And so, like, just with that, like, you know, that just took away a big weight off of my shoulders for me to understand and learn my whole situation. So do I think they have a victim mentality? Yes, I think there's a lot of victim mentality out there. And the reason why I think it's because they have the choice, all these different choices to live two different lifestyles, and they can't keep it up. That's all I got.
All right, no worries, man. Always dropping that fire, man. All right. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Roz. Savage, I'll pass it on to you, man. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
You know, first of all, I don't want to generalize this as far as I speak in answering the question, right? I know very well that's not a statistic, but I also know that in our own personal circles that we do know a few people like that if we are not that person. Experience-wise, I did have a victim mentality based on the lack of knowledge that I had. You know, I thought, woe is me. I blame everything else but myself. And, you know, until I came to the realization later on in life when, you know, it was time to leave on my own and start my own life, that it was kind of a sink or swim moment. So a victim mentality to me would be like, you know the solution, you just don't want to go through it. And because you don't want to go through it, it's the feeling of what's going to happen. You don't know, but it's just as bad if you sit here and wait for it. You get what I'm saying? I think, so somebody I follow very devoutly, and when I say devoutly, I mean as a leader of his community in the community he's built, is C.T. Fletcher. C.T. Fletcher is an amazing voice in the sense that he speaks from experience. And so what I try to do is emulate the very same mentality into our community. So It's not every day you're going to see a big brown or black man walk into the gym and be like, what the fuck is your problem? Why are you so down on yourself? Pick that bar up and curl that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's so abrupt. It's so shock factor. And it's like, why is he attacking me like that? Because you attack yourself like that. Mentally, we do this to ourselves innately. We're not even knowing. That's what it sounds like to us. But now here's somebody manifesting it and saying, you can, because he did. Somebody like C.T. Fletcher, who's had, bypass surgeries and things of that nature, is at it every fucking day, showcasing to you, we can go at any moment. So while in the meantime, in between time, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to showcase to you what will looks like. Not william-nacouzi, but the power of willpower. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get in this, I'm going to get under this bench because we're all the same under this bar. And I'm going to show you what effort looks like. Even if I fail, I will show you what progress looks like. And although I may not succeed, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but somewhere down the line, the many steps I keep taking and getting at this wall until this wall breaks down, I will see the greener grass on the other side. Now, it sounds cliche, it sounds corny, but on the basis of my point is that whether you're a Tongan boy or a Tongan girl or a little Samoan boy or a little Samoan girl, what we want to do, or what I believe I should do in my community, is be the representation. Hey, listen, you guys will never fail as hard as I have. The only thing you have left to do is succeed further than I've ever been in my life. So if anything, use me as a measuring stick and break past that. And when you break past that, go past those limitations. And when you go past those limitations, now set the bar for the younger generation to come in and chase. Because it's not a thing about competitiveness. It's not about that. No, it's about if we get everybody else to jump on the same level of understanding, we're all rising, even if it's at our own paces. With something as simple as a marathon, it's not about how fast you go, but just as long as you go at your own pace, everybody finds their own success. And so, to the little boy, to the little girl who's watching this, and whether you're in the village now or you're here in the States or anywhere else abroad, I would tell you that the beauty of this grind or this process is the failures. Personally, I can only tell you from my experiences the failures, because you know how to fuck up. The only thing you have left to do now is to learn how to succeed. So if you know the DNA of how to fuck up, then you only know what's left is how to succeed. So in the sense of a victim mentality, if you choose to be in that state of mind, we can't tell you different. However, should the time come, if your loved one passes away, or your bills are not paid on time, or you lost your car, don't wait till that time. You might as well jump and attack it at the throat now and make your opportunity rather than waiting for it to fall into your lap. Now, that's just a whole lot of shit, but we'll get deeper into the conversation. So that's all I have to offer in the first round.
No worries, Savage. We're definitely gonna go deep. Deep.
I swear to God. I'm listening to this conversation. I have it that there's a levels in our conversation, in this conversation, and we're hitting it straight from the top, right? And we don't get to the roots of it. What I'm hearing that's missing is the root of what's taking place. Because all we're doing is hitting the upper level of it. Like it sounds like a whole bunch of coaches. Like, and we're constantly living in the world of performance. And all we're trying to do is tell people how to do it when you do it. It does absolutely nothing. Those that are living in the world of surviving and in the world of victimhood, they can't see that. They can't go beyond that. Because we haven't gotten to the root. Like, we all got to we're all human beings, and we come from a world of surviving. When you can get people to be present that we all live in a world of survival, and then we get stuck in that world, and then from that world then we move on to the next part is that we get stuck and we stay there, and we become then in the world of victim. And it's getting that mindset out of that would allow us to move on to what you guys are talking about. Because if you can't see what you're going through, you can't see anything else, because that mind keeps running the same BS over and over again. If you can't undo that, you can't tell nobody to do shit. You get that?
Yeah.
We're already up here, and the problem is down here. You guys are talking about the more advanced. take it back,
I
right?
love that. Love that.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to take it back to,
Yeah.
you know, for myself. You know, like I'm very open about where I was when I was back at home and I was molested. I became a victim. For years, I was a victim of that. I couldn't move forward because I stayed in, I can't let anybody hurt me. And so I stayed with my guards up. I protected my family. I kept my guards up for over 40, 50 years. I played the victimhood so I can survive. And the only way to undo all of that victimhood is to go back and make sure that my past, that I was okay with who I am in the way that I wound up being. It's not like we can turn on the lights and voila, we get clear what victimhood is. It's years and years of working on self to be okay with who you are in the past and that you can move forward. It's not like just, you know, get your ass up there and move and lift up the weight and move on. Imagine the bullshit that Fletcher has to go through in his life to have that kind of tone of voice. You got that? He's gone through his bullshit of life that has him end up being that way. And nobody talks about that stuff. He's got his own BS that he's working on, right? And that part of whatever it is that you went through in the past is what has him be this way at this moment, that he has constantly be that way. So we go back to when I was playing victim, it couldn't allow me to move forward. I lived in that victimhood throughout my life. And sometimes I didn't know I was living into it, because I got caught up in the emotions of being a victim, and it's okay. And most people don't understand what that is. Like, you got to ask yourself, where is it in your life that you played a victim, so that you can get clear what victimhood is? Because we're talking BS about how to become a better person, instead of you taking a look at your life to say, I got where I was and where in life I played a victim. I always play victim. I'm always playing a victim in terms of my communication. I want to make sure I'm right in all I do. And to become a victim, right, for me, I allow somebody to point my fingers and point at people, make sure that they're wrong. And when I have it that when I'm wrong, I'm going to do what I can up here to make sure that I'm right. It's a world of like, somebody has to be right and somebody has to be wrong. And we stay on it until somebody else is wrong. I have a bigger conversation than just kind of yapping about what we should do. Like, this is a dialogue, not just let me give you my opinion. Let me give my opinion, like bullshit. Like, take a look at your own life.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you. Thank you, Siaosi. We appreciate that. And yeah, we're definitely I know you mentioned the roots. Yeah, we're definitely gonna dive into that, because I do want to talk about the roots of the problem of how people become victims. And I saw your question, Marques. Yeah, we definitely go into that. So, how do people can recognize if they're a victim? But then Taniela, yeah, Taniela, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I love what everyone's brought to the table, and what Siaosi was saying too, is ringing in a sense to how do we identify it, in the sense that we have to acknowledge as a society, as each generation comes into play, and living in this society that we all live in, they will always be seen as weaker or pussies than the generation before them. Does this happen with our forefathers? It's happened with our grandfather. Actually, if you go back and ask your granddad, what was my dad like? He'll probably tell you he's a pussy, in the sense, right? And if your kids did the same thing, ask our dad, what was my dad like as a youth? He'll probably say the same thing. So it's the disease, not so much a disease, it's a byproduct of every new generation, in the sense that now they're brought into a world that the generation before them have worked so hard to bring some sort of convenience to the game, that now we inherit the mindset of, if it's better, why isn't it already better? Without noticing, the OGs had to put the building blocks and now you're just stepping on top of those. It's now the torch needs to be passed on to you so that you build the next level of what society should look like. So if you're going through victim mentality, how do you acknowledge that? You look into your life and where you lay blame. That's the easiest way of identifying victim mentality. Where do you lay blame when shit hits the fan? Do you sit down and you go, hey, I made decision 1, 2, 3 and didn't go my way. I'm going to blame John. I'm going to blame Davida. You know, when you start doing that, that's when you know you're in the victim mentality. It's fine. It's fine in the sense that you want things to be better. That's usually why people go into a victim mentality, is things should be better. Why is it not better? What's not fine is being stuck there for the rest of your life, in the sense that, well, Sione's got a nice mansion. Why don't I have a nice mansion? The government should do this, or Tevita should give me that, right? So it's fine to go through a victim mentality because you are gauging the society around you and you know something could be better. What's not fine is being stuck there for years on end, that you're not allowing yourself to put a hand into this piece of pie that makes a society what it is, a community, people putting all their talent, their different skill sets together to build that community for the next generation to come. And it's also a big thing that we also need to realize, especially that whoever's listening to this who is going through some sort of victim mentality or mindset, in a sense, don't blame the OGs or what they've done prior to you. Don't blame the inefficiency of their method, in the sense. And we spoke about this earlier in some of the earlier podcasts. Just because the generations before us aren't as efficient as you think they should be, does not mean that what they're doing is wrong. We always build on the shoulders of giants, and I love that saying, and I think most athletes bring that up, especially Pacific Islander. They always give homage to the people before them, and there's a cliche saying, we step on the shoulders of giants. That's what the mentality that we need to look at in our own community and in our own society. It's fine to go through victim mentality and victimhood in a sense, because you know things need to improve. That's your gauge on the world. But it's not fine to remain there year after year after year after year and just go, well, my life is shit. Everyone should make it better. I shouldn't have to come into this world and be burdened by everyone's inability to see that I'm suffering. No, that's part of life. We have to acknowledge that life is full of shit. 80% of what we go through is shit. But the 20% that makes it worthwhile, and it is worthwhile, is that we get to spend those good times with the people that we love and that we call family. So that's my take on it. Yes, it's a byproduct of every new generation that they will go through some sort of victim mentality, and it's just a human nature to gauge what could be better for the future. What's not fine is you spending years after years just sitting in your room, sitting in your current position at work, and just blaming everyone else for why you're not moving forward while everyone else seems to be moving forward.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Taniela. All right, appreciate it. Always sharing your perspective. And Zoom security, whatever that is, hey, if you want to be part of the conversation, turn your camera on real quick. Be part of the live podcast. But fellas, thank you for sharing for all you guys. I do want to ask you guys this, because again, Siaosi made a good point, and I do want to elaborate, go kind of dive deeper into it. He's talking about roots, right? What is the root cause of people? And since we're talking about Pacific Islanders specifically, because that's what's on the topic at hand, what is the root cause of why so many Pacific Islanders develop a victim mentality? And let's take it all the let's take it all the way back. let's take it all the way back. Let's take it all the way back. It starts with our family, right? Starts good. From my conversation with a lot of young Pacific Islanders from the younger generation, most of their blame that from the struggles they go through, whether it's self-esteem issues, confidence issues, mental health issues, whatever it is, a lot of them put that blame on their parents, right? And I know we talked about this on the previous podcast. I never blame the parents, because you can't blame the parents to raise you the way you want to be raised when they didn't have the tools or they weren't raised that way, right? So that's one of the problems a lot of these when I have this conversation with the younger generation, it's like, you know, how come my parents did this? I was like, well, that's all they know. You know, they gave you the best life they can with what they know. It's up to us to take responsibility, don't be a victim, improve on it, and give that better motive and that better life to the next generation. But I think a lot of you guys said, Siaosi said something, the survival, right? We all come from a survival, performance, lifestyle. That's why we are where we are. And the one thing that for me personally, my personal experience, the one thing I appreciate about the older generation and why I believe it kind of molded me not to have a victim mentality, even though I do become a victim at points in my life. I'm not perfect, I'm human. But the one thing I love about the older generation was they were very direct and always gave me the realities of life, especially when it comes to consequences in my life. And that's been, you know, the way I was raised. We all know we got discipline. For me, when I was with my parents, they were very direct. They didn't sugarcoat shit. They told me directly how it was, and they gave me, you know, if I did good, great. If I did bad, there was a consequence, right? So I had that mentality, knowing that, you know what, I gotta be responsible. If I mess up, there's gonna be a consequence, and it always allows me to look within myself. But now we're in modern society today, so but that's my mentality. But now we live in modern society, right, where the directness and the reality and the harsh truth of realities, we live in an age where we don't want people to feel these hardships. We don't want people to. Everybody wants to have the same ideology. Nobody wants to have a different opinion. If you have a different opinion, you get canceled, like Joe Rogan. All right, all right. So it's all about your personal subjectivity instead of reality and objectivity. So we live in this culture today where we didn't have the harsh, direct, the realness of our older parents, which I appreciate, because to be a victim, like you guys say, you have to see yourself as a victim, take responsibility, and look within yourself and know, I know what, I fucked up. I'm shit. I made a mistake. I'm not where I need to be, and deal with those harsh realities and have those tough conversations. But we live in a generation today that we can't even have these tough conversations with people. You can't have within society, you can't even have the culture. And we live in a society today that people don't want to be told the truth. So
I don't know, man.
I just wanted to ask you guys that, like, that's what I see. And but what I ask you guys, I mean, I'm asking you guys, like, what's the root cause of this, of why people have victim mentality? And I'm interested to hear your thoughts. That was just my experience of what I see. But I want to ask you guys, what do you think is the root cause of this? And let's start from home, from the way, because a lot of the things that the content they make about the young generation, they put that blame on their parents, their upbringing, how it was so tough, how they struggled, and why they are today, why they had the victim mentality. So let's start all the way from the beginning, from the back of, because we're all Pacific Islanders, we all grew up with the, you know, our Islander parents, and we all live now in modern society. As you can see, there's a different generation, a different shift of how we grew up into the society we live in now. So let's take it all the way back to the roots. And what are your thoughts? And Siaosi, you can go ahead if you want to start it off.
Yeah, I'm just hearing that there's a sense of we need to fix this world, and I hear a lot of blames in this conversation. You know, and in the world of trying to fix people, it doesn't work. Like, part of that victimhood is the pointing the fingers of what is and what's not, right? And this is a never-ending conversation. Like, we need to get that it's a never-ending conversation. I mean, working on self it's a daily habit that we got to create, right? And going back to every single person goes through this in life, and like everybody has to experience what life is. Like, there's no fixing this. There is just, let's get people to take a look at their life earlier in life and take on some kind of self-development, like you mentioned last time we had the conversation, finding somebody that they will be willing to follow, somebody that's has made a decent life, and follow.
So let's get specific. Let's dive in and make it specific, because this is what the feedback I get from people that reacted to my video. A lot of them put the blame on their parents. Their parents don't understand them. They're too tough on them. Tough love. So let's start with that. Like,
that's humanity, man.
But let's start. What's your thoughts to those Pacific Islanders that say, you know what, I'm not doing well in life because I didn't grow up, because my parents didn't understand me, didn't give me the way they raised me. They were too tough on me. What are your thoughts on that? And those
I think that's exactly where they need to be. In order to move forward in life, they have to go through that experience of life of blaming others. They will get to a point in life where they're tired and sick and tired of blaming others, that they're going to have to do something for themselves. It is a process of life. You know, there's a thing, trust the process. And life will hand you where you want to be. And it's just a process, unless, like I said earlier, unless we can take on having some kind of self-development early in life, that we can start seeing different perspective of life. Other than, there's no healing this. It's just life experience.
Okay. All right.
Who's a terrorist?
Well,
If that guy's
terrorist
not coming on, like, take him off. It's annoying.
Yeah, terrorist. Yeah. Yeah. If you turn on the camera to jump on. If not, then I'm gonna just kick you out. But yeah, Marcus, I see you have a thought, but
Yeah.
I do want to dive into the parent thing, because I think, like, because I have that all the time, and of course, if you tell a victim, hey, just go through it and figure it out, like, that's not gonna work. For me, I remember I had this conversation with one of my younger. I told him, look, he was blaming his parents for why he couldn't raise him the way he wanted to be raised. I understand, because it was always tough love, and I had to explain to him, your parents was raised in a way, in a different generation, and they're gonna just show you the way they were raised. And I had to break it down to him. Imagine you were raised your whole life to be a farmer, right? To be a farmer, and then now your son wants to be a doctor. Are you going to be able to direct them how to be a doctor when your whole life being raised as a farmer? No, right? And that's why I had to break it down to him. Like, your dad all his life was a farmer, so he's going to try to give you the best life. If you want to do something different from how he was raised and what he knows, he's probably not the person that's going to give you those answers. All he can do is give you the best life you can, put a roof over your head, make sure you're fed, make sure you grow up to the age of 18 as an adult. He's probably going to make some mistakes along the way. But if you want to become a doctor, something that he's never done in his life, you understand he doesn't have those tools, so you can't put that on him, and then surround himself with better people and move on. And then by kind of putting it in that light, he was like, oh, shoot, like, I'm blaming my parents for not understanding my mental health, for not talking to, communicating, be open with me. But then I realized, like, he wasn't raised that way. So he didn't have the tools. And once he understood that his parents didn't have the tools, he was like, you know what? That's not his fault. That's mine. That's my fault. So you know what? I gotta take responsibility. So I just want to put it in that light, because this is the conversation I have, but I wanted to ask you guys, I'll pass it on to Marcus. Like, so those kids out there blaming their parents and why they're so tough, like, what's your thoughts about that for all those kids out there watching this right now?
So, hey, listen up to all these kids out there. The number one thing, the best thing that you can do in order to affect change on the world, because it's going to be hard to change the world. The easiest thing to do to make a change is change yourself, change your thoughts, change your mindset. Then from there, you can start working on your family. Start with one brother, start with the next, a sister, or start with your kids. You know what I mean? Start changing that. And then from there, that family can then go out into the community, go out into church and change that, make that change. And so for me, and here's the deal. You ask, like, how many of us reach out for help? How many of us are man enough or woman enough to actually say that I have a problem and that I need some help? Can you give me some guidance? How many times have I reached out to ask somebody to teach me how to help me learn to speak? Will you teach me? And I've gone after them and talked to them. Like, there's so many times. And again, my brain doesn't click, it's like it's rocket science and it's not there, And again, when we look at our family dynamics and our family group, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, right? I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I got 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And from that, every single one of them has PTSD from their childhood. Every single one of them got their ass kicked when we were young. Not really. Actually, I got majority. I took most of it, because I'm the oldest, because that's what I do, and it made me who I am today. Now, I had no idea that them watching me getting my ass kicked was giving them PTSD. I had no idea that, trying to learn and be a part of this lifestyle and this culture, I had no idea that would give them PTSD and that they would react differently, because we never know. Like, you have 6 kids that grew up in the same environment, all have different mentalities and different things. Oh, the 2 very similar ones are me and my brother and then my sister. You know what I'm saying? We're very similar. Now, Siaosi, I just want to ask you, you know what I'm saying? I look at you, I've watched your social media, I've looked at all your guys' social medias and stuff like that. I've seen you, I think you were at a wedding And, you know, I love it. I love the fact that you're fit, that you take care of yourself, that you understand that you pass that on, and you want to pass it to the younger generations. I saw you boxing. I think it was your nephew. You know what I'm saying? I think it was your nephew. Okay, so now we have that. Now, are you able, again, that competition mindset, that surviving mindset, that I got to live and do all that kind of stuff, you know, are you able to actually affect change and help them identify what a victim is, or how, you know, why are they blaming their parents? Why are you, and here's the thing that I learned just recently. Because I'm the oldest, I'm the protector of my family. Because I got my ass kicked and did all that kind of stuff, you know, like because that I'm the protector of my family. But I realized I had to tell myself, like, look, all the PTSD that you received and all that victim crap that you received from our upbringing and stuff like that, it's not mine to fix. Like, when I tell you that you want to be that person, for that example for your family, you want to be that person, but it takes that person to internalize it in themselves and want to get it done. The way that I see it is that you celebrate, you give that person flowers while they're alive. I'm talking about your parents, right? This is what I had to say. You give that person flowers and celebrate them and ask them questions while they're alive, or is she going to cry when they die? They're not going to be there to answer your question. And then you're still going to have that chip on your shoulder. And you're still going to walk around with that victim mentality. So my question goes back to Siaosi, is that, you know, again, have you been able to help your family identify their weak points? And then, you know, from that, who's following you in your footsteps? And that goes to everybody. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. Yeah.
So, you know, I took this program 7 years ago, and I stand that every single one of my nephew take on this course. It's a self-development course. And that it would be our base to having a different mindset in the family, right? And so every single one of those kids that you saw that has taken the course into not living and not walking to that kind of mentality. And so far it's taken 7 years to finally get my families to look at life differently. And that's why I can have that kind of relationship with my nephews and with every single person that's around me. That's why we can have that kind of relationship, because we're not in our thoughts. We're all about making sure that we're all taken care of internally from a mindset place, right? So it starts with, like I said, if I wish I would have known about personal development way earlier and how we can access it. Because if we can access, like I go back, it's all about access. We get access to our mind and what's there for us. It's easier. Life becomes a lot easier. So thank you for asking that, Marques.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you, Siaosi. Thank you, Marques, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Press that like and subscribe button real quick. And I see there's a lot of people sharing their opinions and perspectives on the live chat. Yeah, much love to all you guys tuning in tonight. But let us know what do you think? Agree or disagree? And if you want to be part of the conversation, please turn on your camera when you do jump on. So I was about to say the Rock. You're not the Rock. Rock. Yeah. If you want to be part of the conversation, jump on. Turn that camera on. I'll pass it off to Savage. Savage, what's your thoughts about taking it back from those kids out there just saying, you know, it's their upbringing is the reason why life can't be better, and they're stuck in that victim mentality, and especially putting that on their parents.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the best thing I could do is put myself in their shoes and remember what it was like to be that age going through it. And, you know, to me, I blamed it at the time with the lack of experience that I didn't have. I blamed it on my father for not being there, even though for me to blame that on a person who could not speak and give his side of the story, I ultimately blamed it on him. With all the stuff that was said about him around me from my family, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunties, my uncles, you know, he's a shit of a person. He left you. We don't give a damn about him. So my whole thing was I shouldn't give a damn about him either. But when it would come to the functions, the occasions, the situations that required me to have a father, it was easy for me to always fall back on that excuse. Well, I don't have a dad. Well, you know what? Well, fuck you guys. You know, it's easy for you guys to all say that shit. My dad don't teach me shit because he's not here, you know? And I see how, and I would sit there and I would be envious, honestly, watching my cousins and their uncle and their dads, my uncles, just interact, and wishing and kind of hoping for something like that, to have that kind of guidance. And why that was problematic for me was like, I knew what my problem was, but I also knew how to solve it. And the problem was I didn't want to solve it because I was too afraid. The biggest pressure on me was that I was the oldest in the family. And so a lot of the things that I had to face head on with the lack of experience. So oftentimes he'd be like, I'd come home from school and we get a call, and then, find out, you let your cousin get his ass whooped. You weren't there to back him up. And it's like, I didn't know. Oh yeah. What kind of older brother are you, you bitch? And that's normalized to me. So now the next time something like that happens, regardless if my cousin's wrong or right, I stand up for him. You know what I'm saying? I begin to just accumulate experience by what is said around me versus what I'm not doing myself. And it becomes so normalized to a point where I'm a robot. Everything I'm doing is based off what they're telling me. And I'm not saying my aunties, my uncles, my grandmas and grandpas didn't know better, but that's just what they knew. Whether it be limited or it hit the ceiling, I don't blame them anymore. I don't. I'm honestly over that. And how I got over that victim mentality was understanding that it is not their fault for the limited information that they bear. But at some point in time, I have to realize, holy shit, I know more than my mom and dad. What the fuck does this mean? It means I have outgrown the bubble, the shell, the house that is their limitation of knowledge. And it's okay to acknowledge that as the children who are watching this. It's okay to acknowledge that you know more than your parents. It doesn't make you better. It is to humble you and say, I know why they said that. And I know that it comes from a place of them not knowing, but I'm going to overlook that and just love them anyways, because they do not know better. And so now I'm tapped in with communities because of those negative experiences that I had as a child. I'm tapped into communities like Street Beefs, athletic companies such as, E73 Football Academy. I'm able to jump into seminars with gang prevention units like Underdog, where we talk to kids about our personal experiences in growing up. I used to fight in backyards for what most would think was like a lot of money, but really I just did it because sometimes that pain would validate me in being here, that I was actually here, that I felt something because of all the times I would be disciplined at home. Violence to me was almost natural to a point, like that's a language to me. Getting slapped on my ass, getting punched in my face, getting pulled by my hair at some point in time became a language to me. Now that is not to say that is a generality. No, that should not be normalized to any child, but that's how it came to be for me. And so as I am tapped into these many different, organizations and things, the understanding to me is that what do you do with that, Savage? With all that knowledge, all that responsibility you bear, what do you do? What do you do with that, and where do you go with it? And the thing is owning up to the fact that I am now a leader. I am the oldest of my family, and all the experience and knowledge that I have gained, it is ultimately up to me to distribute the knowledge, but not limit or hold my kids or any of the kids under my tutelage back. Never to do that. I'm just here to say, don't touch that stove, but I'm not going to stop you from touching that stove. Does that make sense? So yeah. Ultimately, to the kids inquiring that you may think it's your parents' fault, that's for a time, and that time will pass too. And when that time passes, I hope that in some way, shape, or form, that you will come to love your parents even more for the lack of their knowledge, because they really tried. They really tried. And that's all we can really hope for at the end of the day, and how we get over that victim mentality. But yeah, that's it, bro.
No worries. Thank you, Savage, for dropping that, man. We appreciate that. Fellas, I want to ask you guys real quick, because I think I know Marcus brought it up, that question, and I kind of want to bring it up. You said that a lot of times people who have a victim can't see that they're a victim. You don't know, right? They're just stuck in that world. They're stuck in that reality. Unless something happens to them, whether it's life, struggle, hardship, or meeting somebody that forever changes their life. But I want to ask you, fellas. I want to talk about your personal experience, because all of you guys have gone through your own hardships, and you guys went through the process of growing, and you guys have taken accountability, and you guys all gone through things that a lot of you guys have shared on this podcast and previous podcasts, of things that's happened to you that I can't even fathom that even happened to me and most people. But you found a way to deal with it, cope with it, and move on. and still became the great, respectable man that you are. So I want to ask you guys, can you talk about that part? Like when you were in that mindset and not recognizing you were, and then what did you do and what happened? What enlightened you to realize like, fuck, I'm a victim. Fuck, I'm making fucking excuses. Fuck, it's my fault. Why, this is all self-inflicted. I gotta stop blaming people for my problems. I am the fucking problem, right? And having that conversation in your head, and a lot of times these are conversations that we play out daily. But a lot of these dark conversations can be really dark. But we found a way to overcome it and get to the light and move on with our life. But yeah, because I wanna get to that point. Like, what did you do? What happened to you? Was it because a lot of times? Because the reason why I want you to talk about that, because maybe somebody who's listening right now might like, oh, you might explain their situation. They're like, wait, that's the exact situation I'm in right now. And maybe that light bulb goes into their head, like, fuck, I'm a victim. and maybe and then it's up to them to figure out what to do moving forward. But I wanted to talk. How do you recognize that you're a victim? I want to ask that question. How does somebody who has a victim mentality, who's not conscious or unaware of it, but this is what you went through, and this is how you found out and realized with yourself, like, fuck, I'm a victim, and I gotta get out of that if I want something better. I'll start with you, Marques.
Here's the deal for me. I'll be honest with you. Like, I could talk about the physical abuse and stuff like that. My stepfather, my brothers and sisters, dad, he's there for 20 years and stuff like that. And so, I would talk about the physical abuse because he whooped my ass. You know what I'm saying? You talk about being, Taniela talked about giants. You know what I'm saying? We were built on the back of giants. Well, shit, this giant beat my ass. You know what I'm saying? He was on me, And so, like, I don't want to talk about that. Ranger, trying to do things to prove to myself that I was better than this man. All right. But the way that I found out that I was a victim, and this is very deep and again, it's a dark place. I was in a bad place at this time. I was married at the time. I was married to a Hawaiian lady. And, and then what happened was, like, she got mouthy with me one night. We were drunk and like, I didn't hit her or anything, but, I did physically grab her and dragged her, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, and then what my excuse was? And this is how I knew that I was a victim. I had this effed up mentality, and that my excuse was, oh, it's my culture. You know what I'm saying? That's that bullshit that I said. You know what I'm saying? I blamed it on my culture because I didn't see. And let me tell you, one thing that I love about Polynesians is that when we get into a relationship and stuff like that, marriage is marriage. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I've step back and I've looked at. I'm like, holy smoke. Like, that beautiful marriage, the bond that we have in most culture. I don't want to generalize and say all of them, but in most and 80% of them are just great marriages, or marriages that work and people understand their place. But, I said, oh yes, my culture. And I remember looking at my other Uso, man, and he was like, yo, man, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, but bro, that's not it. That's not it. And then from that moment on, I had to sit back and I was ashamed. You know what I'm saying? I was ashamed that I even had that thought in my head. It wasn't that I was blaming and saying like that, but the fact that those words came out of my mouth, you know what I mean? Like, that's crap. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And then when I tell you, like, guys, this was like 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? This was a long time ago. Like, I've learned a lot since that time. But it took me, like, I started fighting MMA at that time. I became, a MMA fighter, became a professional fighter. I remember getting my ass kicked, you know what I'm saying? Like, just sitting there, I'm just sitting there, let this dude punch me and stuff like that, because I felt ashamed. I felt ashamed for that. And I wanted to atone for who I was, you know what I'm saying? For those bad things that I did. I felt like I was a bad kid, because I blamed this thing that I love so much. I love being Samoan, you know what I'm saying? I love my culture, you know what I'm saying? I love everything about it. I love the women, I love the men, I love, the way that people are. I love that we're happy people and stuff like that. I love our relationship with our other sister brothers and sisters in the islands and stuff like that. But that was the turning point for me. And I knew that I wanted to show my kids what the best parts of our world, and not shield them from the negative parts, but make them aware that this is our life. This is what your dad is. Let me show you mom. Let me show your grandma. This is what she is. This is what she had to go through, a sexual assault and all that kind of stuff like that. I'm not going to get into her business, but like, there's a lot of trauma that happened, you know what I mean? But it doesn't make you a victim. You have the choice to make yourself better. And being that example of making myself better, going through those things and identifying the fact that I messed up, anybody can change. Anybody can fix themselves. So that's what it was for me, bro.
No, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Man. Thank you so much. Yeah, and everybody out there, I see a lot of people posting on the live chat. Yeah, thank you for sharing. But let me know what you guys think. And I'll pass on to Siaosi. Yeah, what do you think, Siaosi? You know, people out there they can't recognize they're a victim. And for you, like, how did you go through that phase and like realizing that you're a victim and now it's time for me to take accountability and move on?
Yeah, man, it's like I said, I didn't discover that I was a victim until it was my 40s. I was so stuck in being the victim and living the life of a victim. I didn't catch on. You know, there's no seeing and there's no foreseeing in the future. There's what we call a blind spot, and you can't discover it all on your own. And that's why you're having a powerful conversation with people that allows you to give you the space to have the conversation so you can see something newly for yourself when you have these type of conversations. And, you know, being in my 40s and discovering that I've been living a life of surviving in the role of victimhood, I had it that it worked for me. Because I've gotten to where I'm at because I lived that lifestyle, protecting myself, protecting people around me. So it worked. But now that I moved on from not allowing, because it's a mindset, you know, Bob Marley said, like, it's all about mental slavery, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just became a slave to my mind was my slavery. And staying in that and constantly having that self-conversation is what kept me on the same path. It wasn't until I was able to have conversations that freed me. So what I'm asking you guys to do is, whoever's listening, is have more powerful conversation, or find people that you're able to have conversation that gives you the space to be okay with where you're at and that you can speak what's going on in your life. Find people that are powerful enough that they can take your BS of life, put it in their pocket and just listen. And that's why I was able to get in my 40s, because I was able to find people that was willing to listen to me. And so I can unload my trash that's been trapped back here for decades. Decades. If you have no room, if there's nobody else is willing to find time for you, find somebody. And that's all I can say. Find somebody you can trust that has the time for you just to let things out. Have this conversation.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Siaosi. Yeah, and I'm gonna give a special shout out to Get Lost with the super chat donation. Thank you so much for Get Lost for donating to my channel. And Get Lost, I remember I just want to say thank you, because I'm kind of surprised that you donated, because you're usually the one that is anti everything I say on this podcast. So I'm kind of humbled right now and grateful that, you know, somebody that's always against everything I view to support financially to my channel. So yeah, that's great. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's cool to me. Thank you so much. And yeah, let me know your thoughts and appreciate your opinions. I know you always respond to a lot of the comments and give me a lot of heat, but I appreciate that. Get Lost really means a lot. All right. Thank you so much. And also a lot of people are reciprocating that your story, Marques, man. They felt that. And because I think that was deep, man, for sharing that. And also Siaosi too. What I loved about Marques was, you know, it came to a critical moment that you know, like, damn, that happened to you, and then that allowed you to realize, wow. And then also you had a friend that was able to like be real with you. It was like, bro, that's not it, man. That's not it. I think that's powerful. I think we need for a lot of people out there, and also for Siaosi, I think what I took away from that was just like, you went through 40 years being a victim. That's crazy, right? But that's reality. Unfortunately, some people out there, they live their whole life like that. whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And I know people right now older than Siaosi, they're still in that mentality. And that's the unfortunate reality.
I have it. You got to take a look at yourself. There's something that's running you. You just when you think that you're running your life, there's something that's running your life. And that's for every single one of you.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like you are a victim. You got to find out what it is so that you can be free. Because I haven't, what I'm hearing is that we're all free, that you all are free. You could be, but then you want to take a step back and take a look. Are you really running your life or some other things are running your life?
All right. Yeah. Powerful. Thank you, Siaosi. All right. Siaosi is the uncle that always gonna check you. Hello, Siaosi. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Savage. Yeah. Same question to you. Yeah. When you were faced of blaming people, what triggered that enlightenment for you? So, shit. I am a victim, and I need to change to improve my life.
Yeah, I think the light that shined, or the light bulb that came on, was the moment I met my dad. I now knew that who can you blame now, right? Like I saw my dad, and almost innately, the spiritual wave that crashed over me like the ocean was like, this is confirmation. You victimized yourself, Savage. You did. Because now the man is in front of you. And in order to beat the man, or in order to be the man, you have to beat the man. So here he is. Tell him everything you've gone through and blame him for everything you've ever blamed him for. Now he can speak up for himself. And I immediately broke down and knew everything I had ever blamed on him was like, it's bullshit. At face value, I was like, I was a bitch. Because here's this man who cannot speak up for himself. And it's like, no. Say the things that you said when you were a kid to when you were a teenager to even in your early 20s. Say what you said. Now say it to him. And I couldn't, because I now knew here's the source, and it's not coming out of me, because I now know I am a liar. I'm a liar. I had been victimizing myself for the longest time. And now when I see my dad, I'm not mad at him. I'm telling you, Will, when I first met my dad, I was not angry at him. I felt like I wanted to be angry at him, but I couldn't, because the man had lived his life without even knowing that I even existed. So who am I to blame him for something he lacked knowledge in? And of course we sat, we talked, and everything in my life now began to make sense. It began to make sense. Simply the time when I met him was like, hey, now what do you do from here? Right? What do you do from here? I went back to school. I tried to finish my degree and get my AA in kinesiology. I, tried to venture into different investments and business ventures, and all because he shed knowledge on me on how to do this. I learned so much from him. I'm 33 years old now, and I met my dad when I was 23. So within 10 years, he covered the gap. No one asked him to. I didn't ask him to. He didn't have to either. But he showed me hey, man, I know what you might have gone through. I know what you might have dealt with, but I just want you to know, if you ever blamed me for anything, I'm sorry. He didn't have to say that, but he said it. And now it was even a bigger sign of confirmation. Dude, what the hell was I even mad at? What was I even blaming him for? Because he was willing to help me if he'd have knew me at that age versus where I'm at now. And he never judged me. If all this anger that I manifested towards him, it was of my own doing. It was self-inflicted. And Marques said it so clearly. Sometimes you just sit there and you get fucked up. You just get the ass whooping, because whether it knocks some sense into you or it just makes sense to you, it's like the universe is telling you, yeah, you deserve this ass whooping because you directed all that pent up anger and blame towards somebody who didn't even know you felt that way about them. But that was just me. I'm not trying to take Marcus's story, but and so now I'm in more content with the decisions I make, that even if I fuck up, it's me fucking up, nobody else. I will not blame anyone else, because even if I don't know the outcome to this decision, the point is I wholeheartedly, and the cognizance of my mind say, I am ready for the consequences. So, and that light bulb going off in my mind was when I met my dad and knew I have been victimizing myself for years. And now what do I do from here? And the solution was just to build now. Now that I know I victimized myself, It is time to shed that old skin and become something new, somewhat of a caterpillar coming out of its cocoon, becoming a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? The beautiful illustration is that I can be who I want to be now. Nothing is holding me back. And that may be dangerous for others. That may be uplifting for others. But the point is that I don't blame anybody no more. And if anybody's hearing or listening to this, I would hope and pray that whatever phase you're in, I hope that you stay in it. Don't back out. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep fucking going. So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Savage. Yeah, I very appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Savage and gentlemen, man, powerful stories, powerful insight, man. Thank you guys for sharing that. I know the live chat is appreciating everything that we're saying tonight. And yeah, Siaosi is absolutely right. You know, to take a look within ourselves, even myself, because we're all victims. Because every single day, like we're all human at the end of the day. I find myself having those victim thoughts and having those times where I wanna blame this because the situation wasn't what I wanted to be. But I will always remember something one of my mentors told me. He said that the way you can recognize you're a victim is when you talk about a problem without a solution. So that's something I would always remember. So when I'm complaining, bitching, making excuses, blaming this, whenever I go through my own shit in my own life and being a victim myself, I always remember that quote. Okay, I'm talking about my problems, but am I putting that energy and effort into complaining and talking about my problem? Do I have a solution for it? And then whenever I'm done complaining, that light bulb goes off, you know, go through that woosah moment, and you know what, time to get back on track and move on. All right. But I want to ask you, fellas, because this is something that came up from one of my somebody that responded to my to the video I posted about on Monday. I want to ask you guys this question, right? So there's people out there, and because we're all here talking about victim mentality, and we're talking about, okay, we have to. It all starts with you. You got to figure it out and go through your own phases and struggles and grow. But there's some people out there that will say this, right? But Savage, but Siaosi, but Marques, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the horrible things I've been through. You don't know that all these things, you know, I've gone a lot worse than you guys, right? So I have an excuse. I have an actual excuse or reason that I can become a victim because you guys have never gone through what I've gone through. And this is the conversation I have with certain people. And my perspective towards it, look, like I told you guys in the beginning of this podcast, the experiences that we go through in life are valid, right? It's valid. I'm not saying what you went through in life is invalid. No, it's real. Whatever you went through, it is valid. But if you want to change that, that has nothing to do with changing your future. The only thing that can change your future is action, is making the different choice. And that if you want a different outcome, you can't repeat the same, you know, what's it Denzel said? You can't keep the definition of insanity, right? You can't repeat the same decisions if you want a different outcome. So I'm not saying your experiences that you have gone through is not valid. It's just if you keep talking about it and not doing it and improve it, then it's irrelevant when it comes to life. So, but I want to pass it on to you guys. I want to ask your thoughts because there are people like that, and those are the people that responded to my videos. You know, like, oh, you guys don't know what I've gone through. You know, you guys can't believe I've gone. What do you say to those people? I'll start with you. Marques. What do you say to those people out there that saying that you guys don't know what I've gone through and all the stuff that's had terrible things happen to me? I have a legitimate excuse or reason why I can be a victim and why I am in my situation.
Validation. Number one, validation. I'm going to validate that you are correct. You are very unique. You are a unique individual put on this earth to be an imprint on somebody. All right. And you have to take your story, because what you went through is a story. Imagine how many other people have come close to that. You know, imagine how many other people, like I had no idea Savage, you know, fought in backyard fights. That's my shit. I used to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to fight for free. You know what I mean? Like that was fun. You know what I mean? And so I figured I might as well get paid for it. So, you know, again, from that story, again, you have to have these conversations. And again, I'm going to validate, yes, you are unique, you are specific, you're unlike anybody in this world. And the experience that you went through can reach out and help somebody. I saw somebody say something on Instagram, this, I don't know, it's some TikTok thing, but talking about, hey, yeah, you you make a post, and you only get 20 likes, but then you put a story on whatchamacallit, and you get 300 views, saying that people are watching, they're just not saying anything. And that's the point. You got to make sure that you are, again, you validate that person. Like, again, dude, look at what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's going on in your life. You, like, again, you got to tell your story. You got to realize this. And from that validation, I promise you what would happen. The two things that happen, they can continue living in that what you are, in that victim mentality, in that mindset, or you could have planted a seed that will make them go back and reevaluate everything that they've been through and find out, what is it making them do? How is it making them feel? How is it making them think? What is it blocking them from receiving? And that's the biggest thing, man. Like, we can't stop ourselves from receiving these blessings. We can't stop ourselves from receiving what the world has. And when you walk around that mindset and mentality, and dude, you're screwing yourself over. You're screwing your family over. That's how I would do it.
Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you for sharing that, Marcus. I pretty appreciate that. Powerful stuff. Siaosi, same question. With people out there that said, you don't know what I've gone through. I've gone through much worse, and I have a legitimate, reason, excuse why I'm not where I need to be.
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm just gonna jump on what Marcus was talking about. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that we can do about that person. Nothing. Yeah. There's nothing that you can say or do, or nothing. And I think just acknowledging where they're at in their life, that would allow them to know that they've been seen and heard, right? Because at the end, I can't remember who said, I want to thank me for getting up in the morning, and thank me.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, right? And it's that. And it is that. When you can get to a point that you're sick and tired of not doing absolutely nothing for yourself, that you're going to get up and do something about it. But the most part about who we are is that it's the acknowledgement of who they are and where they're at in their life that makes them feel like there's something. Without acknowledgement of who they are and what they said, and recreating who they are, that they stay stuck, right? And that's why I said, find somebody that can shut the hell up and just listen to you. Tell your stories here and there. Tell your story more often, because one of these times you're going to be sick and tired of telling the same story. Or get off the story and create something new, create a new life, create a new story, right? Because the story that we have is living in the world of victimhood. To create a new story and live into a new possibility is everything, right? Or we go back to, let's just acknowledge people where they're at and stand by their side and make sure they're not hurting themselves. And I get you. I truly get when you're going through what you're going through. We're all human beings, and we all go through the same thing, just different areas of life. Acknowledgement.
All right, thank you. Right, thank you, Siaosi. All right, acknowledgement. All right, and Savage, what's your thoughts, man?
I started my career back in 2014, and as I moved out to Las Vegas and Nevada, whether it was personal training, athletic coaching, football coaching, strength and conditioning, like, the one thing I've always come to understand is that the most broken people live in the gym. The most broken people live in the gym, whether that means mental, physical, or spiritual. The most broken people live in the gym. And there's a reason why, whether it's an escape, or it's a church, or it's Mecca for them, or it's a release. Like, the gym, you will find the most interesting people in the world. So interesting. You will find people who are cancer survivors. You will find people who had PTSD in the military, and so they go there to feel that pain again because it validates them in their existence. You will find people who almost off themselves, almost committed suicide just a week ago, only to find that they gravitated towards a video of you on social media. So they came to that specific gym just to meet you because of something you said, right? And I've been doing this since 2014, and the only credit that I give myself is that I never gave up on any one person. So to the kid who sits there and says, you know, you don't know what I've been through. You're like, okay, you're right. I don't. I absolutely don't. What do you think your solution is? Because I don't know. You came to me, right? I'm the guy you send into the inner city schools when the kids don't behave. The big brown guy coming in, like, oh shit, who's this guy? Who's this new coach? Transitioning now into a life coach is, I find more result in speaking life into the child through real life events based on my experience. So, you know, to that kid who often believes that no one knows what they've been through, you're absolutely going to be right. None of us are going to know. Okay. So the question is, what are you doing here? Well, what next? Why not just give up? Why, you know, not to poke or provoke people to just give up, but I'm saying, you know, why come here? Oh, let's be right. Marques said it earlier. You seek validation. You seek it. So now that you're here and I'm acknowledging you, are you ready to put in the work? Because it's not going to be an easy road. This mountain is steep as fuck. This road is bumpy as hell. The light at the end of the tunnel may not be bright when you get there. And I would tell easily is this, based on my experience, I don't even know if I can ever say I really ever succeeded in anything I do. I could just say I'm still doing it, you know, hopefully some way down the line. If anybody says anything about me when I'm gone from this plane of existence, is that, oh yeah, that guy Savage? Yeah, he was on the william-nacouzi podcast. If that equates success, then fuck it, let's do it, right? And to the kid who follows the steps after, yeah, man, we don't know what you've been through, but you know what? Sitting there, you're gonna end up like that kid over there. And if that's the example I have to showcase to you physically, so you see what the choice that you do or do not make, is that what you need to see? Is like you need to see it to believe it? Then by all means, that's choice A, and this is choice B. Why not create choice C? Why don't you just create or make the new path? I do it every day. You know what I'm saying? Most people equated me to be dead or in jail or somewhere back in the island. I'm still here. I don't even know how it's going, but I'm just going. So whether it's a child, it's an adult, although we may not know what you have gone through, I only ask, what do you think your own solution is? Because I know how to help you, but will you allow me to help you? So it's not easy. This road is less traveled, but it is doable. It is possible. I would hope and pray that you figure out whenever you're ready to do this. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
All right, no worries. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Savage. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your responses and your feedback. Thank you so much for watching this right now. If you're watching this right now live, you guys already love the support, love the content that we're producing, and love the great opinions and perspectives and the knowledge these fellas are dropping. Press that like, subscribe button. And yeah, and much love to all you guys out there. And of course, if you have a specific question you guys want to ask directly, you can ask it through a super chat donation. So fellas, I'm kind of want to transition into a different part of the topic. You know, why do Pacific Islanders have a victim mentality, or in the Western countries have a victim mentality? Because I do understand, just from my own personal experience, you know, life is all about perspective. It's how you choose to see things. Some people might choose to be very negative and see all the negative things in the world and live that life that way. But then some people choose, you know what, no matter all this fucked up shit I've gone through, I'm going to choose to find all the good things in my life and try and to focus on that. And like I said, if you change the way you see things in your life start to change, right? I want to talk about more in the Western society, because in my perspective, like I told you guys before the beginning of this podcast, I believe if you live in a Western country, and if you understand what 80 and 90% of people in this world go through, then you will start to appreciate and be more grateful for everything you have in my life. I'm very grateful every single day when I wake up living in America. I know what the struggles are going in Tonga, and I've never been to China. I've never been to India, but I do understand that 33% of this world live on $2 a day. I do understand that people out there suffering hunger every single day, have no food, have no water, going through wars, refugees. Because of that perspective, whenever I go through my shit, I just understand that my life is just great. Like, I can't complain about anything in my life. No, even though I go through my own struggles, I choose to always see the good in my life, because I know like things could be a lot worse. And I know, matter of fact, most people who don't live in a first world country don't understand that my life is like, I'm in a lot better situation living in America compared to most people who live in third world countries. And it allows me to move on, no matter how bad things get in my life, right? And for me, some people might see the one thing I've noticed in my family, the Pacific Islanders that grew up in America are complacent, lazy. You know, they have low standards for themselves, no goals for themselves. Based on my observation, I'm not saying this is for all, but they're based on people I see within my circles. But then I see the people, the immigrants that come from different countries, refugees, they come here to make things happen. They see America as this land of opportunity. But then the Pacific Islanders I see that grew up in country in America, they see America as just like the way most people see America today. Oh, it's you know, racist, there's all the negative things in America. But for me, that's just life. Doesn't matter where you go out in this world, there's always fucked up things in every single country. But I'm going to choose to see the positive things because as far as opportunity to better yourself, better your life, better your situation, better your family, there's no other place, in my opinion, than this world. So I want to ask you guys, in your perspective, for all those people out there that tend to live in this country and with all this opportunity, but they think that this world because we're talking about first world modern country, first world countries, Western countries. But like you said, wait, Siaosi, you're an immigrant, right? You came from Tonga, right?
Yeah.
And Savage, you grew up here, and then Marques, you grew up here, right? Yeah. So like, what's your thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts about that? You know, living in this country, living in America, and what are your experience if you ever traveled the world? If you guys would ever see different places, but what are your thoughts about perspective with like people here complaining that their life is so terrible in a first world country? And for me, it's like, for me, when I listen to people complain about living here in America, I'm just like, man, you have no idea of the world, how big the world is and what people really go through, the harshest, real problems people go through. And for me, it's motivation. When I hear a story of somebody that grew up in a terrible situation from a third world country and they could come here, that motivates the hell out of me. Because all the fucked up things or obstacles they had to go through and they still figure out a way to make it happen, that motivates the shit out of me. If they can do it, fucking I can do it, right? There's no excuse. And whatever, like this is my favorite quote, whatever struggle you've gone through, somebody took that struggle and made a life out of it, right? Whatever struggle that you went through, somebody in this world took that struggle and made a life of it. So, well, yeah, what's your thoughts about America, living in a first world country and people like just complaining about how hard it is to make a better life in this world compared to most of the world? I'm just interested to hear your opinions on that. I'll start with you, Marques.
I was actually hoping to hear Siaosi talk first.
Okay. Siaosi, you want to go first? Go ahead, Siaosi.
You know, that's what's so great about this great country, right? It is a first world problem. Yeah. Like we're so focused on the smallest thing in life. And this is why people are powerful. This is why the government is so powerful, because we focus on the stupidest little thing. And we're so entangled in that we forget about the bigger things, right? And that goes back to, I don't ever want my son to go through what I went through. My son's experience is his. My time is my time. This is his time. So I don't sit here and I don't compare the two. My experience is my experience. Yeah. Like my son will figure out his life at his time. And I have it. This is the best time to be alive.
Facts.
Right? And my son will figure out his life when it's his turn. So I don't live here and compare my life to his life, because I'm grateful that I grew up in my time. But at the same time, this right here, right now, 22 is the best time to be alive, because we have options. We have options. And that's why, that's why people are fighting for that freedom. Like we truly have that first world problem. We're sitting here comparing my life to real life. It's a first world problem. First thing you need to do is get over it. Support people where they're at this moment so that they have something beautiful that they can build on. But if you're constantly sitting here like, you didn't grow up the way I did, bro, you're a broken record. You know how many times that story has been told? It's a broken record. Nobody wants to hear it. We want to, most kids want to hear what they can do from here on. Like, what can I build from here on? And I'm here at 22 and nothing is working. Like housing is $900,000. Yeah, we didn't go through that. Are you kidding me? We didn't go through that BS. We didn't have the internet to screw around with. We didn't have our phones. Are you kidding me? It's the best time to be alive. Let them be. They will discover and figure out what they need to do. I mean, this is the future generations. At one point, you and I were the future generations. We're done. Like, let these kids build this dream for this new generation so they can grow up and run this world. Like, chill out, Dad. Chill out, old man. Chill out. The kids will figure out, every generation will figure out what they need to do for themselves. We didn't have the internet to screw with. They do. Let them figure it out. That's it. Let them figure it out. Chill out, people.
No worries. Yeah. I think like for me, it's like everything we talk about this podcast. It's not about like telling people what to do or what they cannot do.
Oh, I got that.
Well, yeah, what we're doing is like, offering a different perspective, just to see if hopefully people are open-minded to see things a different way, and then all the things I'm going through in my life personally, it's just like I meet people, and all you guys, just things that Savage has changed the way I see things. Siaosi, you helped me change the way I see things. Even Marques, being in the panel, I listen to you. You help me change and see things. And like this, and like Siaosi said, we have to figure it out on our own, right? But a lot of times, I do understand in this world where people live in that bubble, they often don't hear another perspective. So, by having this conversation, hopefully, like I told you before, like we're not gonna figure your life for you, but hopefully, but I do have some cousins that have talk. Siaosi said the first world problems, right? Always complain about my internet, my Amazon delivery didn't get here on time, my internet's slowing down, and I have to offer them a different perspective. Like, bro, your life is good. Your life is good. Your life is good. 100%. Cheer up, cheer up. Like compared to most of the world, and then some of them don't give them, some of them don't care. Like you're just a boomer, baby boomer. You're just an old head OG. Calling me old and shit, but there's some of them do respect, like, you know what? Yeah, like, damn, why am I complaining about this? Like, life is, and there's a bigger world out there. This is like this small. Yeah, thank you, Siaosi, for sharing that. The small thing, yeah. Savage, man, what's your thoughts? Oh, and I'll come to you, Marques, to conclude it. But Sav, what's your thoughts about just living in a first world country? A lot of people out here might think it's the worst place to live. But what's your thoughts about that?
That sounds like perspective to me, honestly. But
yeah.
This great philosopher once said, I believe his name was Joe Dirt, life's a garden, man. You got to dig it, right? You got to keep on keeping on, right? So it's such an easy understanding of like to understand the perspective of what's really harsh versus what is real struggle. And most people who come from the bottom know that perspective. So people coming from the bottom, like dirt shit poor, will appreciate anything and everything. Man, God bless my grandfather, man. If he was still alive today, my grandpa would still be collecting coins, right? As old as he got, he died in his 80s, late 80s, almost to his early 90s. Rest his soul, man. He was still collecting pennies, nickels, and dimes. It's such a lost art, but he was still doing it. He had a piggy bank even after my grandma passed away, and it was so simple. It was like, you want an ice cream? It's like, Grandpa, we on the iPhone 3 now. Who wants ice cream anymore? But we forget those simple pleasures, because it's the perspective. Right. When I first went to Tonga, the culture shock was that everything I was used to and normalized to is no longer available and accessible, right? I can't watch Barney. I'm not going to have the new Jordans. All that shit goes out the window. So now, you're going to be stuck here doing chores. You're going to tend to the pigs. You're going to feed the trough. You are going to make sure the roosters, eat the bugs around this area. I was like, dude, I'm only fucking 6. What the hell? And it's like, well, your cousin is 4, so shut the fuck up. I was like, God damn, why is this so hard? But that's what I see. It's hard for me. My 4-year-old cousin is so grateful to do this because that's how they eat. They have to take care of the livestock, right? My grandpa the kids in the village would be like, oh, we got 25 cents. I'm like, bro, I've had $5. You think 25 cents is something? But to them, Lole New is only 25 cents, and they can all break it break it down and share with each other. Something as simple as that is perspective. That's it, right? I saw an interview with a guy, multi-millionaire, billionaire guy. I forgot what his name was. He was just on TikTok. And he said he still reminisces the times where he would cut the cheese. His mom would cut the cheeseburger from McDonald's just to share with the brothers and sisters. And he never loses that. You know, that's just perspective. You know, I know people have it hard whenever they lose somebody. I'm not going to speak on anyone's situation, but if it's a matter of perspective, how about trying to look at the problem from this angle or this angle, or maybe look at it upside down or inside out, because you might just be having a problem with your perspective. That's really it. If it's tough that, you know, oh my God, my phone is dying, it's at 3%, you know, it's as simple as like, well, what did I used to do at their age? Okay, babe, we're going to go camping. What? What's camping? It's like, what's camping? Well, let me show you. Let me show you camping, right? And if the you know the PlayStation 4 or 5 is not accessible, you know, let me show you what marbles used to be. Me and my brothers and sisters, we used to play with marbles. We draw the circle, put the one marble in the middle, and if you want that marble, you shoot it out the circle, right? Simple shit, just very simple. Because it's not bad to live the lavish lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be luxurious, but every once in a while, when you're humbled, remember how to go back to basics. So if it's as simple as, oh, woe is me, I'm in a first world country, and you know my daddy's taking away the car this weekend, we'll just be grateful you have a car, because that car alone, one village, like no joke, one village anywhere in the world considered a third world country could all use that car. They all could share that fucking car, but you have access to it. So I would just say, you know, try changing your perspective, because that might just be it. Who am I to even tell you any different? But it just might be a matter of perspective.
All right. Thank you, Savage. All right. I see someone in the live chat that said they collect coins just like your grandpa. All right, fellas, I want to ask you this question, since we're talking about first world problems. I want to hear your answers. This is some entertainment for everybody that's watching this right now. What's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to a first world problem? If you hear somebody talk about something in the first world, what's your biggest pet peeve? For me, this is my pet peeve. whenever I man, you know, I have to stop laughing. I laugh whenever I see people complaining about America on social media. I always laugh, like how they talk about how bad America is, because for me, I'm just like, okay, so you're complaining about America, where America gave you the internet that you're using to complain on that video. You have a phone that America gave you to make that video, and then you're living at your home all nice and peaceful at your home, complaining about the very country that gave you all the necessary tools and advancement to complain in that video. That's just for me. It's sometimes that's one picture that when people like talk about how bad this place is, and then it's like, well, you complain about it, but you're still here. You're still living. If it was so bad, then why don't you just leave? But the reality is they don't, because they know it's unconsciously, they know it's a good place. But that's just me. But for you guys, like, just, you know, for everybody that's listening and watching this, what's the biggest pet peeve when somebody talks about a first world problem? And for you, it's like, come on, man, come on. You, Marcus, go ahead.
So here's the deal. Like, I was part of a couple business organizations before, and one of the things that I used to see that I believe, like, people who are not from first world, from like the Western countries, not from like, you know, Australia or, you know, Britain or here in the United States, a lot of people come from a different place to the United States. They're far more driven to be successful in many things that they do, far more driven, far more eager to take rejection, far more eager to, you know, to try to win, to better themselves. And the biggest thing about it is, again, when you see all these people complaining about things, they complain about our government, they complain about, you know, taxes, they complain about minimum wage, they complain about not being able to get this kind of education because not being able to buy this, you know, like, again, these houses are expensive. I live in Portland, Oregon. These houses are expensive here. And so the biggest thing I see is that, look, here's the deal. Like, in order to make a change, you have to put yourself in a position to make the change in life. hands down priority. So my biggest thing is when people, like, I can't stand, like, oof. I really wish people would have a bigger dream for them families and for themselves. I really wish that people would, would just, again, go out there. And it's probably not answering your question because
that's fine.
I pretty much just, just accept people for how they come, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I wish that people would have a bigger dream for themselves and for their families and stuff like that. Hey, hi. And so I wish people would have a bigger dream for themselves and for their families and see that this is a place of opportunity, right? There's so many people, like, for example, get on here stirring the pot. I love it. Siaosi, starting a business, or having his gym and stuff like that. I love that. Savage, getting ready to be a life coach. Like, these are all things that I love and that we have this opportunity to do. And I just wish more people would step out. If they don't have to go, quit their 9 to 5, but wish people would just step out and go and take advantage of these things. I don't really have any pet peeves, bro, but that's just one of my 2 cents I wanted to put in.
All right. No worries. All right. Thank you for Marcus. I know you didn't want to get canceled. Just joking. Just joking, Marcus. Yeah.
I didn't even show up, man, so I can't get canceled.
It's just very interesting. I hear what's your, because modern problems, like, damn, when you hear that from people, like, for you, it's just like, man, come on,
dude. I don't have one. I do. I currently have a this face mask BS, right?
Oh, gotcha.
I hate that our government is doing what they're doing in terms, right, that we can put 70,000 people in a football stadium and nobody's wearing a mask, even those that are in power. And then we come back to school and we mask our kids out. It's like, really. Today I walk into a restaurant and people are sitting around with no mask, but we have to walk in, leave our mask on, order, and then sit down and take our mask off. Like, there's no sense of making sense about this. Like, I get it, man. It's time to stop playing the games. Like, unmask yourself. And this did I say I had a pet peeve?
Yeah.
I can talk about it all day.
Of course.
That's it. I mean, unmask yourself, go live your life. We know that it is what it is. The government has done what they've done. They're unwilling to acknowledge that they screwed up. The rest of the world is move on, and so we should. So we, right? Let's just move on. That's my pet peeve. Let me walk around with my thong on and with my mask on. Okay. You know what I mean.
No, I got you.
I'm putting on my face somewhere. All right. Taniela, welcome back.
Welcome back, Taniela.
Sorry,
we'll go
guys,
back No, just a response. Sounds like you live in a good place when the biggest problem we have in the country is a face mask. You're living good when we're
life here in the United States is beautiful.
Yeah,
you can't ask for anything more other than let's get the BS out of the way so we can go back to living life the way that we've always have.
Yeah,
nice and free.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually like masks because it hides my fucking ugly nose. I've been told I have beautiful eyes, so it works out in my strategy when I wear a mask because people can
Bro,
be stuck in
man,
the eyes.
you and I both got the same problem.
I think we might be related.
I don't know why, Marcus, why you're laughing. Your nose is just as big as mine. And Savage, your nose is extra wide. And Will, damn, bro. Yeah, you all got some nasty ass, gross ass nose. That's a Polynesian nose right there.
But Siaosi, you don't know how I grew up. You don't know what I'm.
Easy, rabbit. Easy. Easy, tiger.
Just jokes, just jokes. All right. Yes.
What are your Tanielas?
I think I don't know. We'll come to the Taniela. I don't know if you're listening. You've been listening, Taniela? We'll come back to you. I got you.
Yeah. Give me the question.
Well, I'll ask Savage if he can share your opinion, then I'll come to you so you can get the layout. So Savage, Pet B, what's a first world problem? Like you hear people talk about, like you're like, man, come on, man. Come on.
Fuck, man. Siaosi got me riled up about the mask because I just got into it with my daughter's school with that shit. They just lifted the mask mandate here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that's a good thing for everybody here. So but a first world problem that's a pet peeve to me is technology. Just like the access to it, right? It's still not even enough. When I hear something like, oh my God, my 5G network is down, right? My little sister, right? The other day we got into this argument where she's trying to upgrade to her 5G phone, but she can't do it right now with her current iOS update. So I'm like, okay, so what's the issue? He's like, the download speed is slower. I'm like, is it still downloading? Yeah. Okay, so then it's just a matter of patience. Just sit there and wait. Oh, but I need it now. And I'm like, oh, God damn, man. Like, I just remember like having, like, it just reminded me of dial-up, right? Mom, can you get off the phone? Like, I remember being that guy where it's like, I need to get on the internet. I need to research this crap. So it's like every generation, has their struggle. But for a first world problem, like even now, my kid's like, Dad, you didn't pay the Wi-Fi. I was like, oh, shit, are my kids calling me out? Okay, all right, I'll go pay the Wi-Fi. But they're right to call me out because they do their work online. The problem is like when they finish their work, they're so fast. The kids are so fast. Everything is fast, right? 1 day delivery, 8-hour delivery. So it's like, Dad, we finished our homework. Can we play now? It's like, God damn, I just brought you guys home. All right, whatever. Oh, okay, Dad, the movie's done. I just played 2 movies. You guys watch? God, man. So technology, the access to technology is like, I'm the guy who I used to complain about my mom not being fast enough. Now I'm my mom of this generation. Like, I'm like, oh, damn, that's why my mom hounded me so much. Jeez, man. Now, well, that's what I get. That's what I get now because now I have to sit here and adhere to my kids. But, it's not that I spoil them in any way. But, yeah, technology is a big pet peeve, although it's very positive in a sense for, growth and accessibility. But at the same time, the biggest side effect to it is like the exposure to almost everything. Like everything is coming at you at the same, here's a pill that enlarges you.
It's so beautiful.
Here's a workout plan to get a 6-pack in 8 days. Here is an online course to get your degree in Uranus. I don't know, but like like it's just everything is because of the accessibility and the speed and how you get it. Technology is a good and bad thing as I'm seeing it right now. It is more good, but right now for the kids, I guess it's just management at this point. So yeah, that's my.
Did you just say? Is it more good?
What's that?
More good. Did you just say more good?
Yeah. Well, I see more benefits in the technology. So yes.
Yeah, no worries.
Call you up in your fob. Your fobness.
Hey, Savage, I do remember those dial-up days. That sound. Ding, 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 ding. Oh man, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, and also talk about technology. One of also another pet peeve of mine is when people tell me if they don't know how to do something. It's like you can't because of Google, because of internet. There's literally no reason why you say I can't do something. I don't know how to do it. All you gotta do, go to Google or YouTube and type in how do I excerpt whatever you want to do in your life, and that will teach you and give you the instructions or video, whether it's a article, like everything's on the internet. So like there's literally nothing that's gonna stop you from not knowing how to do something, especially in today's day and age. And yeah, I just want to share that real quick. So Taniela, we were talking about first world problems and and pet peeves of us. And sometimes we hear people talk about how terrible their life is in the first world. And for you, what's a pet peeve? Like, what's one of your pet peeve first world problems you hear people talk about?
I actually have 2. One's slightly trivial. My first pet peeve is watching people throw shit out of their car while they're either parking or moving. I cannot stand people who throw shit out of their vehicle. Funnily enough, when I was dating my wife in the early stages, she loved to do that, and I said, if you want to be with me, you have to fucking stop that. Otherwise, that's a deal breaker. It's my biggest pet peeve is watching people throw rubbish. And if you want to go deep into that, it's disorganization. If you throw shit out of the window, you're a disorganized person. You have no organization in your life that you know where rubbish goes and where rubbish should not be. So that's my pet peeve. The other one that's really big with me is people not planning their time, especially whether it's friends or family messaging me, hey, I'm going to come over tomorrow. What? You're hitting me up today that you want to come over tomorrow. Why? What's important about you turning up tomorrow? Oh, I just want to see you. No. I want people to plan their time because I respect them enough that I will say, hey, next week, how about Tuesday? Are you free? Let's go out for a coffee. Or how about the weekend? I value people's time because I know how important that is to me. But when someone just turns up and go, hey, let's go do this. I'm like,
Taniela, you're forgetting your Tongan.
Yeah, I don't say, don't you piss it on.
I'm coming over, cook dinner. Matter of fact, cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm coming to stay over tonight.
Man, like I'm probably the most non-Tongan you'll ever come across when it comes to time, eh?
Time.
Even my wife in the weekend when she walks into my room and go, hey, let's go to Bunnings or let's go to the hardware store. I'm looking at her like, the fuck? I'm busy doing something right now. Why didn't you let me know yesterday or the day before? Like my wife's learned to let me know in advance when she wants to do shit. Because I love to plan my time around things. And if she doesn't let me know at least 2 days before, I am the most grossest bloody Tongan there is. Is fucking
busy man.
My face goes redder than red. But I think it's just a habit in the sense that someone earlier on in my career has told me value other people's time. It's just stuck with me. So I hate being late to a lot of things, and that's why when I'm jumping on stuff, I usually try and get in there early, because to me, how I perceive it, if I'm late to something that you organize, then I'm disrespecting you. Like I don't value your time, and
I feel that way all day today when you didn't show up.
I'm sorry, dude.
No worries.
Calling you shit. That's all I'm doing.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finally, it's coming out. It's coming out.
Hey, you figured it out. Like, listen, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, man.
How
like,
big is it?
It's so big, man. Like the number. Stupid.
Might need some Vaseline.
I'm savage,
bro.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, but listen, one of my biggest pet peeves, man, is the amount of weight food. Like food. I can't stand these kids nowadays that waste food.
Oh, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, and listen, I can't stand like, my kids will spread their food sometimes. They're not just my kids. I see it in organizations. I see it in restaurants. These first world problems. I don't want to finish on my food. I'm not. Why'd you order all that food? You just wasted like all that shrimp. You know what I'm saying? All that damn, all that steak. Oh my God, it's half a steak. What are you doing? Like I can't stand first world problem. Can't stand when people waste food, man. I made my kids some pisupo and some corned beef and SpaghettiOs. You know what I'm saying? These kids are like, Dad, I can't eat that. And what you mean you can't eat that, boy? What you mean you can't eat that? You're gonna eat that. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna eat it. But Dad, you know what I'm saying? That's the way you grew up. That's not the way we grew up. What the? Come on, man.
I guess I have it. I'm pretty lucky. My 26 and my 24-year-old, they eat anything and everything.
Yeah,
you're lucky. They're the trash can. When I have whatever my leftovers, they take and eat. But my 11-year-old, that little son of a gun. Hey, Dad, I'm hungry. Can we go to the store? And I get over there and buy him everything else, and he takes his water and he drinks it, and that's it. And you'll leave the food, and you'll go home, and you'll leave all the food. That little son of a gun. That's
Hey, I want you guys to all what was your when you grew up? Remember, you guys remember the time when somebody didn't want to eat the food? What happened? Anybody wants to share a story? Share a story real quick.
Oh man, I think we live in two different worlds. We never had enough. we had to ration. But funnily enough, the side topic, it was a big thing in our culture that if you were to eat your dad's leftover, you would grow white hairs.
Yeah.
So we never touched dad's leftover.
I know. I remember Marcus when Marcus I don't want to eat that. I was just thinking about my childhood. Like nobody even dared to say that. Nobody even dared. No, like
I'll tell you right now. That's why my grandpa got rid of the dog, because every time we wouldn't finish our food, we'd feed it to the dog under the table. So he figured it out. And one day we woke up in the morning and we didn't see our dog in the cage. And then my grandpa just walks back from the back. Oh, he run off. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's a domesticated animal. He lives in the house. Like, yeah, he run off. He run off. So now we had to finish our food. There was no more excuses.
That's funny. Hey, when I first got here to the States, it was 1981, and I found out there was such thing as cereal. And cereal and milk for me was something completely different. The taste of Fruit of the Loop.
Yeah.
It was so much sugar that I didn't like it. And we were staying with my auntie and his husband and her husband at the time. And so when I wake up in the morning, he would make cereal for us and I wouldn't eat it because I didn't like the taste and the way that it smelled. And so I would leave my bowl and I would go to school and I would come back and I would check up to see if there's any food. And he pulled out my bowl of cereal, my soggy ass cereal. You guys think it's funny, huh? Shut up, Savage. Shit. And I had to eat, in order for me to eat the next food, I had to eat my soggy ass cereal. And that happened for months. And I finally got to a point where I was really starving that I had to force myself to eat cereals. True story. True story.
It's the same.
Right?
There's no such thing as cereal in Tonga, and the only cereal that we had was called Wheat Bix. And if you walked into a house that had Wheat Bix, you know they are well off.
Well off. I never heard of that.
Well, that's the next generation. That's our generation.
Yeah.
We had Wheat Bix. I'm sorry, you didn't have Wheat Bix. But we have Wheat Bix.
Oh man, the first thing I went and looked for was Wheat Bix when I got here. Until I found out Wheat Bix was a fraction of what they offered at cereal, and my mind was blown. I couldn't process. Holy shit! There is more than one variety of fucking cereal. Even the milk.
Right.
Yeah. Like I would say, like in my grandma's refrigerator was an Asian market because that's all she would shop, because Tongan food isn't accessible, or just Polynesian food is not accessible out here in the States. It's too expensive to import. But kimchi, oyster, mussels, all that I had to learn to eat at an early age before I even went to Tonga. And it was because she purposely starved me. She knew I wanted the sandwiches, I wanted the McDonald's, I wanted all that. And no, everything in her refrigerator was what she liked. So eventually I just grew to love it because of that.
Hey, I don't know if you guys ever. I know Siaosi and Taniela. You ever in Tonga we all lived in one house, but you ever seen like when the new wave of Pacific Islanders from your cousins that moved from America or from the first world country to come to Tonga, and they have to learn to get adjusted to the way we do things in Tonga. And especially when we talk about food, I always love it because like they're not used to like you eat what you get. So whenever we have some cousins, this is the first time eating here, and they're like, oh, I don't eat that. And then we all look. We already know what that means. We all look at our grandma. My grandma was like, oh, she was, oh, you don't want to eat? Okay. And the next thing you know, I forgot flying pop. All of a sudden, they're eating that shit.
I took my son to Tonga. It was 2012, and we sailed from Fiji to Tonga. And he got there, and he was like, he missed everything he had. He missed the food, the good food. And it was like, this is all we have. Like what we have is like we had ma baku baku. Like that's all we got, buddy. we went to Uta, got some talo and some ufi. I'm like, that's all you got. And he was like, I'm getting on an explain. Like, who's gonna pay for you? I'm getting on an explain. I'm going back to America.
Even the bread was called to'okoto. It wasn't bread.
Man, exactly right. But yeah. He wanted to come back as soon as we got there. The next week he was like, I'm done. I want to go back. I want to go back to my Starbucks and all that good stuff.
No worries, fellas, man. Thank you for sharing. And right now, looking at the live chat, people are dying and laughing, enjoying our stories, enjoying our flashbacks, enjoying the flashbacks we had in our childhood. A lot of you guys might look at that as torture, but when we grew up, I just thought that was normal. I just thought that was normal. That was normal until you come over here, like, oh wow, like there's a different life. All right. But yeah, fellas, we've come to the end of the podcast, the conclusion of the podcast. Thank you so much for everybody that's watching right now, tuning in. Thank you for all the supporters, everybody on the live chat, dropping your thoughts and opinions. Press that like and subscribe button real quick if you enjoyed the show. But I want to pass on to fellas to conclude the podcast. Thank you for your insights today. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your most intimate parts of the struggles that you've gone through that allowed you to grow and stop being a victim and being a victor in your life. But I just want to ask you guys, what's your final thoughts based on the conversation we had, and what's something you want to leave for people out there, especially the people that are victims in their own life, and maybe just some last thought or thing you want to leave with them. And it's up to them what they're going to take out of this, but hopefully they can overcome that. So I'll start with you, Marcus. What's your last thoughts, or what did you take away from it? And for somebody out there that's kind of unaware they're a victim, what's something you want to leave with them?
So one of the things I want to talk about right there is, like, again, identifying, we all just got to be supported. Everybody's their own unique fingerprint in this world. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was put here for a purpose and stuff like that. So identifying that person, Jay on the podcast, on the live, he said, we need more people like Marcus's friend, out there that said, hey, Marcus, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? We need to be that person for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Now that we all understand this stuff, we understand that we've gotten ourselves out of victim mentality. You know what I'm saying? We need to be the one to go out there and be like, yo, that's not it, man. There's a bigger, brighter future out there for you. I need for you to take a minute, look at yourself. That ain't it. Let's live this right life and be a victor in our life. That's all I got, man.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. All right. And also, I would just add on to what Marcus said. One of the hardest things you will ever do is being that guy, not for one person, but for your entire family. When everybody's against you and you have to be that one person step up. That's, it's going to be one of the hardest things to do. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. Marcus, enjoy your stories and your perspective and sharing. And also, how can people find you, Marcus? Because I know you're killing it on social media and you're TikTok famous. So what's your social media?
What's up? I'm trying to hit higher levels and stuff like that. But no, man, I am Marcus D33 on TikTok, Marcus D33 on Instagram as well. Over the next couple months, man, I'm gonna be blowing up my page and trying to do some things that are outside the box, outside of the norm. And so, like, I want everybody to follow, like, subscribe to this channel, to this podcast, and then follow me. Let's roll.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you, Marcus. Pass on to Savage. Final thoughts, what you want to share with people out there that going through it as a victim, and drop your panels.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with going through a victim mentality. I don't want to call it a phase because I don't think everybody does. And whatever that percentage is, that's pretty dope. But if you are going through a victim mentality phase, there's nothing wrong with discovering yourself in that. I would just ask that, don't play into it for too long. It takes away more than it gives. So you can follow me on Instagram. I primarily focus and function more on TikTok. Siaosi said something that stirred in me, and that's Bob Marley's redemption song, right? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, for none of them now cannot stop at the time. Like, understanding that that's been spoken since before I was born, it still stands true today. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery in knowing that you can only do it. Not me, not your mom, not your dad, not your brothers and sisters, only you. So with that being said, from me to you, I pray love, light, and protection. And to you, gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to always be a part of this panel. I appreciate you.
No worries, no worries. And how can people find you, Savage, if you want to be found? Or not.
On OnlyFans, Pornhub, everything.
Just type big savage on Pornhub, and you're gonna find Savage. All right. Yeah. And Siaosi, last thoughts. You want to share with everybody, and how can people find you?
Yeah, first of all, you can find me Siaosi Veimau on Instagram or Ramana Fit. On TikTok, you can also find me on Siaosi Veimau.
And congrats on that ESPN. Yeah, like 29 million views, man. Shout out to Siaosi, man. I saw that. I was like, I felt so proud. Yeah, go ahead.
It was cool. Yeah, man. Like I said, there's nothing else to say about the topic. Is my last thought for people is take the next 5 years of your life and work on yourself. Like really take the next 5 years. If you're 20, if you're 25, you're 25, 30, take the next 5 years of your life and immerse yourself in taking a look at yourself and how you operate and understand how the mind works. So that way you can turn out better, or you can have more perspective of life instead of living this life in a constant story of life and not creating a new possibility. And that's what I'll leave you guys with. And on top of the last 5 minutes of this conversation, where we were all interacting and sharing our stories, that was the best part about this little 5 minutes. What I got from that is that we were so free to be with each other, and it was endless. The sharing of the energy, the dynamic of that is, I have it. That's what's coming about this, is that we discover that the dynamic of who we are, and when we're interacting as we're going from ourselves, is powerful.
Yeah,
that's what I got for the last 5 minutes of us.
No worries.
I'll shut up.
No worries. And also for everybody out there, if you don't know Pacific Islanders, we bond when we talk about hardships and struggle and just the worst things that happen to us. For some reason, that's how we bond.
Yeah, and our big ass noses.
I don't know. I think Marques got the biggest one, bro. This is long and deep.
Bro, I do, man. Like I said, that joke is huge, bro. And in my head too, you know what I'm saying? Shit.
Yeah, that's what we call that back here in California, right?
What's that?
Ugly.
I own it, boy. I own it. Bald is beautiful, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. Like you own that shit, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like Savage. Savage owns every part of who he is, and that's why I love him.
Yeah.
But you know the crazy part is Taniela is like quiet as shit, because you know when he speaks, it sounds like God that comes out. I fell in love with Taniela came on and he just said something, and I was like, "Who is that? Who is that?"
You need to start an ASMR page with vape. You need to start.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Do something to that voice, because that voice is badass. Like you have a voice that could actually do something. You can do something with.
Yeah, like there's a 1-800 sex calls. Yeah, you just jump on that, man.
Listen, I don't give a shit what he does with it. Just do something with it. You gotta stop screaming at all the people that you're working with and go make something. Hello, man.
Like, hey, baby, you had a rough day.
Daniela.
Walk me what you went through. That's what Daniela would say. Thank you so much, Siaosi. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you on the panel. And last but not least, Taniela. Your thoughts about what we discussed, and how can people find it?
Man, this is beautiful. This is what the wider community need to have, is open dialogue, not being afraid of disagreeing on a topic like this one. And again, fellas, appreciate your time and energy in these conversations. I always walk away richer than I am coming into these talanoa, and so I thank you all for that. My thoughts on the topic. Look, if you're listening to this and you are wondering and trying to piece together your life and thinking whether you are under a victim mentality or not, don't waste your time. Because if you're not, you already know. What you should be doing is get yourself a diary or a journal. Please learn to write things down. And the things that I would encourage people, and I always encourage people to do, is write down 5 things that you have in your life right now that you are truly grateful for, that if one of those things are missing, your life would be terrible. Start by those 5 things. The next move from then on is to write down every person that you blame for where you are in life if you are unhappy, and then look at why they affect you in that way. And then put down your name on the other side of the page and write down what you can do to move away from that mentality that they put you in. I tell you that this is powerful in the sense that you start to manifest what you write down, because what you write down is your manifestation of reality. Write down what you would do to get out of these mindsets or these emotions that you get into by what people do to you in your life. When you start doing that, you'll develop more strategies on how to self-develop than you would get from any other book. Why? Because you are real to yourself and you're writing things that happen and are true to your lived experience. That's the most powerful thing that you can do. Last and definitely not the least, because we only have a certain amount of time, is learn grateful habits by finding things that you can do and be of service to others, that they will give you that grateful energy. Being grateful for what you have in life is important, but being grateful that other people are grateful for your service is much more powerful. So be in service of others. If you cannot be of service of yourself, be of service of others and accumulate this experience, because that will give you much more than motivation. That will give you a sense of belonging. Because as much as you would like to wear yourself down, you can start accumulating these other people that you have created a difference in their life, that you'll use that as your ammo and do what majority of, well, all these gentlemen do. Look after your health. That's the most important thing. That's the vessel that you live in. If you do not look after your health, your physical health, everything else does not have a solid foundation. And if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, 4eyes1lens. I do nothing of the sort that you would see me on the podcast for. I just take some pictures that I think are cool, and that's all. But hopefully in the next couple of months I change that, because there is a couple of big things I want to get into, and hopefully that works out well. But other than that, malo aupito to everyone on this panel and to anyone who's watching.
No worries.
I'm lost in love.
Press 2.
Did you
for the
notice how
Titan
everybody's
Titan.
calm and collected? Like, holy shit. Like, nobody said a goddamn word. We just kind of sat here and listened to him. I don't know. Maybe it's the new haircut. Maybe it's the big nose. Maybe it's the glasses. But it's definitely something. There's something there for you.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, thank you so much, fellas. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days. Always appreciate you guys having on the panel. And for everybody out there that's watching live on that, all the positive feedback, thank you so much for watching, all the support. But fellas, yeah, thank you so much, man. You guys have a blessed night. Malo Pito, Marques, Siaosi, Savage,
Ovatu.
Taniela.